Once upon a time, in a small village called Willow Creek, there lived two best friends, Emma and Sophie. They grew up together, played together, and shared everything, until one day something changed. Emma and Sophie were inseparable as children. They would dream of what they wanted to become when they grew up. Emma always said,
I want to be an artist. I love painting and drawing.
Sophie would reply.
I want to be a chef. Imagine all the delicious food I can make.
Their dreams were different, but they supported each other. Whenever Emma finished a drawing, Sophie would clap her hands and say,
You are so talented.
and whenever Sophie made a simple sandwich, Emma would grin and say,
You'll have the best restaurant one day.
As they got older, things began to change. Emma went to art school in the city, while Sophie stayed in the village, helping her parents with their bakery. One day, Emma came back to visit. She showed Sophie some photos of her paintings.
They are amazing.
Sophie said, feeling proud of her friend. But deep inside, a tiny voice whispered, She's doing so much, and I'm still here in the same place. When Emma visited the bakery, she saw how busy it was. People lined up for Sophie's cakes and bread.
You've really grown the bakery.
Emma said. But inside, she thought, Sophie has so many customers. I wish my art was that popular. They didn't say these thoughts out loud, but they began to feel distant. One summer, the village held a festival. Everyone was excited because it was a chance to celebrate local talents. Sophie's family decided to set up a food stall. Sophie worked hard preparing cakes, pastries, and pies. Emma was asked to paint a mural for the event. She spent days creating a beautiful scene of the village. When the festival day came, both of them felt nervous. Sophie thought, What if my food isn't good enough? Emma thought, What if no one likes my painting? As the festival went on, people crowded around Sophie's stall. They couldn't get enough of her delicious treats. Sophie smiled, but she couldn't stop thinking, Emma's mural is so much more impressive. At the same time, Emma was standing by her mural, watching people admire it. But she couldn't stop thinking, everyone is buying Sophie's food. She's so successful. Finally, Sophie walked over to Emma.
Your mural is incredible. I could never do something like this.
Emma sighed.
And your baking is amazing. Look at all those people who love what you've made. I wish I could have that kind of success.
They looked at each other and realized something important. They were both comparing themselves to each other and feeling like they weren't enough. Nearby, an elderly man named Mr. Thomas was watching them. He had lived in the village for many years and was known for his wise advice. He walked over and said,
You know, there's a saying, the sun and the moon both shine, but they do it at different times. Emma and Sophie looked at him, confused. He smiled and continued, Emma, your art brings beauty to the world in a way that no one else can. Sophie, your baking brings people together and makes them happy. Why compare yourselves? You're both shining in your own way.
Emma and Sophie thought about Mr. Thomas's words. They realized he was right. They didn't have to compare themselves because they were both doing what they loved. From that day on, they supported each other even more. Emma helped design posters for Sophie's bakery, and Sophie provided snacks for Emma's art shows. They stopped comparing and started celebrating each other's successes. Years later, people in Willow Creek still talked about Emma and Sophie. They were known not just for their talents, but for their friendship. They showed everyone in the village that you don't have to be the same to succeed. You just have to follow your own path. So remember, your journey is yours alone. Don't compare yourself to others. Like the sun and the moon, you have your own time to shine.